The Thrunite TW10 is a $50 weapon light worth it? We decided to test the Thrunite TW10 against big competitors in the full-size pistol light space, the Streamlight TLR1HL and the Olight PL Pro. Both the Streamlight and the Olight come in about $140, and we want to know if we can save $70 and still get a high output full-size light. The specs say that the Thrunite TW10 has 900 lumens, about 3,900 candela, and is at a price point of around $50. Interestingly enough, it also uses a removable rechargeable battery, the 18350. Coming out of the box, we see a screw type rail attachment that seems to be similar to the TLR1HL. However, the screw head is different, and it's a bit of a pain to get the TW10 fully mounted onto our pistol. We couldn't snug down the attachment by hand, and none of the tools we had around seemed to fit. Eventually we settled on a square key head, and it worked sort of. Either way, we marred the head some, getting the light on and off the pistol a half a dozen times. The Thrunite specs state that the battery is an 18350. This is one of the most interesting features of the light. 18350 batteries provide two key benefits. First, they provide higher current capability, allowing a brighter light. Second, they allow removable recharging, which allows the user to keep one or more batteries on a charger and swap the batteries out as needed. Modlight and Cloud Defensive both have announced their pistol lights using 18350 batteries. These lights promise higher output, more candela, and potentially higher run times than the Streamlight TLR1HL or the Surefire X300U. We were hoping that the Thrunite would provide something similar here so we could get a glimpse into the future of full-size pistol lights. The TW10 battery removes easily from the front by unscrewing the bezel, similar to the TLR7, and we like that system. However, once you get the battery out, you can't charge it. The battery will not charge on a standard charger built for 18650 and 18350 batteries. The button top on the Thrunite battery does not allow contact. So we were thinking maybe we could run a standard 18350 battery in the light. We have a Trustfire battery here. We threw that in, and that didn't work either. So you must use the built-in USB charging on the back of the light, and you must use the Thrunite battery. This means that you have to remove the whole light assembly from the pistol every time it needs a charge. We know that removal and mounting of this light is less than optimal. Once off, we had no problem charging using the USB-C port on the light, but the main advantage of an 18350 light is that you can easily swap batteries to keep your weapon light up and running. We ran this light through an outdoor test, searching an environment for threats. Comparing the Thrunite to the TLR1HL and the PL Pro, the first thing that stood out to me was the wide angle of illumination from the TW10. It provided a wide area of bright light illuminating the ground, the walls, the bushes, and any other things that happened to be in my close-in environment. The other thing I noticed is that it did not throw as far as either of the other two lights. It didn't reach my distant trees or across the pond, both of which I could easily see with the other two lights. Finally, the TW10's output dropped off within minutes, and that made it even harder for me to see. In our warehouse space, which is at 40 feet, we captured the Thrunite against those same lights from Streamlight and Olight. Focusing on our subject, the Thrunite was the worst of the full-size lights. It simply does not have the candela to provide the necessary illumination at the distance. What it does do is provide a wide and bright flood. You can see that the Thrunite provides a wide angle of throw, which is as good as, if not better than, the Olight PL Pro. Our test subject rated this light as strong light, which is less than any of the other full-size lights we tested. And this allowed our subject to see the outline of the light operator, and we would prefer that our subject only see a wall of light or have to turn away. The light has momentary and constant activation using press inward type side switches. The buttons are significantly smaller than the PL Pro and positioned a little ways down the body, and that took some getting used to. My fingers had a hard time finding the button. However, once found, to my surprise, I was able to shoot with the momentary activation on and do that without any flickering from the light. While we prefer the paddle style switches on the rear of the light, such as we would find on the Streamlight TLR1, these switches always activate when you hit them, but their small streamlined size makes them harder to find and activate than either of the two other lights that we compared against. In the lab, we tested for max lumens and runtime. For lumens, the TW10 exceeded its factory spec, coming in at 983 ANSI lumens. However, when running it for a longer period, the light steps down from a high output within 3 minutes. And then it barely exceeds the output of a Streamlight TLR6 at about 130 lumens. It stays there for hours. Our candela testing confirmed that low candela spec of the TW10. We measured 2,657 candela, which is a fraction of the TLR1HL and PL Pro. We expected our candela at angle test to be more favorable for the Thrunite, as it appears to provide a strong flood. However, it was practically even with the PL Pro at any angles of 20 degrees or more. This was obviously a design decision from Thrunite, possibly due to the internet myth of you'll blind yourself with too bright a light. But we prefer more candela to identify and control threats. Regarding color, the Thrunite was the coolest light of those tested, and we do prefer a warmer light for better contrast to skin tones. So is a $50 weapon light worth it? Could it compete with offerings from Olight and Streamlight? We think it could if Thrunite made some changes. First, use a standard 18350 battery. This would allow the battery to be pulled out through the bezel without having to remove the light from the pistol. By using a standard battery instead of that proprietary solution, customers can use their own charger, plus they can purchase spare batteries at a reasonable cost. Second, change the lens to produce a hotspot. At 900 lumens, this light is reasonably bright, but it's hamstrung by a lens that disperses that light in all directions. Third, improve the switches. I prefer the rear lever switch such as we would get on the TLR1HL. But if Thrunite must have a side button switch with rubber over the top, then please make it larger and easier to index on. Finally, use a common mount tool. Thrunite got it right by providing a screw mount, which is low profile and secure. However, the execution of this one was only 80%. Please provide something that tightens down with a common tool so that users can easily attach or remove the light. And if Thrunite's watching this, don't be worried if better components cause the light to cost more. The $50 space is crowded. A stronger light with better components and features at a $60 to $85 price point would be welcomed. We are excited to see lights using the 18350 batteries. While this one doesn't hit the mark quite yet, there is opportunity for Thrunite or other manufacturers to get in this space before Modlight and Cloud Defensive come out with their lights.